Hey everybody, it's the Junkman back again and sitting in a hotel room bored, so I thought, what's the best way to pass time? Talk to you guys to make a video. First I want to say anyone out there who listens to the Kenner Chronicles podcast, I haven't had one in about 3 weeks. Had some family issues. I haven't had the time to record it because it takes almost all day to record it. I'm hoping this week to get to it. And so what are we going to talk about today? The prequels. Everybody hates the prequels, right? That's all I ever hear. Is, oh, the prequels suck. The prequels suck. I hate the prequels. Everybody, I hate the prequels. I hate the prequels. Everybody hates the prequels. Why does everybody hate the prequels? So does everybody hate the prequels? Or is it just the internet? First, let's look at The Phantom Menace. I remember seeing The Phantom Menace, and I'll be honest with you. My first reaction coming out of The Phantom Menace was let down. Wasn't happy with it. Did I hate it? No, that's the thing. Isn't that people hate it or they love it? There's no in between for some reason. For people either want to hate something or they want to love it. Can't people be in between? Anyway, I remember lots of Star Wars fans, not just people I knew in person, but I would get in these chat rooms and everybody may not have loved it, but they at least liked it a lot. And Attack of the Clones. I didn't know until like 3 years after the release of Attack of the Clones that it was hated by a lot of people. I remember going with my best friend, and he was on the edge of his seat, loving Attack of the Clones. I could see the joy in his face. But if I ask him now, he says he hates it. So I don't know how you can go to a movie and enjoy something and then hate it. But this is, I've talked about this before, but this is what I wanted to get at, is everyone talks about Rotten Tomatoes and CinemaScore. First, if you know what Rotten Tomatoes is, it takes up all the reviews, adds them together. So we're going to take a look at the reviews. What do critics think of the prequels? And what do the fans think of the prequels? Is it really hated? And then we're going to look at CinemaScore. What is CinemaScore? John, tell them what CinemaScore is.
The only true audience score is CinemaScore. Ignore IMDb, ignore Rotten Tomatoes audience score. The only true audience score is CinemaScore because CinemaScore is the only one that verifies that the people they're taking the questions from or that they're asking about the movie actually saw the movie. Rotten Tomatoes audience score at IMDb is just flooded with tens and hundreds of thousands of people who haven't even seen the movie.
Thank you, John. John Campia. Hope he doesn't mind I use his video. Let's look at Rotten Tomatoes. The Phantom Menace, which in my book is the worst Star Wars live action movie there is. Sorry, it's just not my favorite. If I had to score it between 1 and 10, I would give it a 5, maybe a 4. I'm not a big fan of The Phantom Menace, but let's look at the critics. The critics have it at 59%. What does that mean? That means more than half of the critics liked it. Sure, it's still rotten on Rotten Tomatoes. But the thing is, before the 3D release of The Phantom Menace, you know what? It was fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. I think it was in the 70s. I don't remember. I'll have to look and see again. So, how can you say everybody hates this movie if all the critics agree? But we're not just going to talk critics. Let's now look at one that a lot of people seem to hate. For some reason they get upset that Anakin talks about sand. I don't see the big point in it. I don't see why it's such a big funny thing. Why everybody hates that scene so much. Do I love it? I don't know. I don't even remember it when I went to see it. I don't understand why it's such a big issue. But we're talking Attack of the Clones. So what did people think about it? Is it fresh or rotten on Rotten Tomatoes? Guess what? It's fresh. 66% of the critics liked it. Again, more than half of the people liked it. What about just the fans? 57% gave it a passing grade. 57, again, more than half. A little less than the 59 for The Phantom Menace, but 57, right around the same ballpark. So let's look at Revenge of the Sith, which many people will say was the best of the prequels. Which, yeah, I guess I'll give them that. 79% of the critics liked it. So again, way more than half of the critics liked it. What about the fans? The average Joe that went to see the film. 65%, again, more than half liked Revenge of the Sith. So we looked at Rotten Tomatoes, but let's see about CinemaScore, because everybody talks about CinemaScore, saying that's not for critics, that's for the fans, that's people, what they do is they survey people leaving the theater. Let's see how they liked Star Wars. We'll start with The Phantom Menace. Let's see what it has. A-. Now, I never got any A's in school, but Even I can tell you 8 is a great score to have. So, what about Attack of the Clones? One that many people say is one of the worst prequels. Although I still don't understand why they hate this so much. But what did it get? I bet it got a C minus, right? Nope. A minus. So the majority of the people surveyed after seeing it gave it an A minus. An A minus! And this is supposed to be the most hated prequel of them all, according to some people, right? Now let's go to Revenge of the Sith. What does it have? An A minus! Again! All the prequels on CinemaScore. This is people being polled after seeing it. What did they say? A minus, A minus, A minus. They all loved it. So we got proof that most of the critics gave the prequels a good review. So we've got a majority of the critics that like the prequels. And as we've shown here, we've got a majority of the Star Wars fans, or at least movie-going fans, like the prequels. And we're not talking about just one or two of the prequels. They all got them. CinemaScore people all gave the prequels an 8. Every one of them got an A minus. Every one of the prequels got over 50%. Critics reviews liked it. Even the Phantom Menace, like I said, the Phantom Menace, yes, it's not fresh. It's the only one that's not fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. But again, it was fresh for years until the 3D release came out. But also, more than 50% of the fans on Rotten Tomatoes, they like the prequels. So what's all this prequel bashing? Why does everyone thinks everyone hated the prequels? And it's not true. I talked to a lot of people on Twitter and online that grew up. They learned about Star Wars watching the prequel and they love it. I'm an older fan. I grew up on the original. I saw all at the theater. I played with the toys, as you know that. So did I hate the prequels? No. I don't hate the prequels. Do I love the prequels? Parts of it. Is there some stuff I was disappointed about? You bet you I was disappointed in some of it. Is there stuff I hate about it? Yes, there's a lot of stuff I hate about it. Is there stuff I love about it? Yeah. But I loved the story. But I loved the building it did in the Star Wars universe. I love that it introduced new fans to Star Wars. And there's a lot more. Let's not focus on what we hate about the prequels. That's the problem. People act like you have to either hate something or love it. And how can anyone not like Obi-Wan Kenobi in the prequels? There's a lot of good stuff in the prequels, so please, let's stop bashing on the prequels. If you're not going to quit bashing the prequels, at least stop with this lie that everyone hates the prequels, that they're hated by everyone, or majority of the people hate it. Because as I've shown here, the majority of the people do not hate the prequels. A lot of us like it. So, do you enjoy watching them? That's all that really matters, if you enjoy watching it. And I'll be honest with you, I enjoy watching them all. The Phantom Menace is the only one that's a little tough for me to get through. That pod race scene is about 3 hours too long. But I would love to hear what you think. So let me know in the comments below. And of course, as always, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and check us out, StarWarsJunk.net.